What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel today. Like I sort of alluded to, we are going to be doing a meta tier list, and it's my first one in quite a while. It's definitely my first one for the September format, and I personally think this format is going to last through the new year. I don't see another ban list coming until January or February. One of the top tier guys, Josh Schmidt, actually posted, I think it was today or yesterday, like, when's the next ban list? Like, come on, we just got this one. I mean, let us enjoy this little bit of craziness for a while. So today I wanted to go through with a meta tier list. If you look on the left here, we've got best decks. I think we're going to end up with 2 to 3 there. We have next choice, we have clear 2, which is just clear tier 2. Rogue and Not Its Time. Again, the way that I sort of rank these is the best decks you're going to be looking at 50% of the tops are going to come from these couple of decks or more, 50% or more, but hopefully not a single deck. Next choice is going to be like 25 to 40% of the tops, and then clear 2 is going to be whatever's left. The Rogue is going to sneak in there at some point, and then Not Its Time is just doesn't really belong there right now. We're going to start on the left, go all the way across. I'm not really going to skip any here. First we have, this is going to be Lightsworn Pile, especially with Grass and Reasoning and everything else. I think this is a clear tier 2 deck. I don't think it's 1.5. Shifter's still in the meta. With everything else that we're facing, I just don't see Lightsworn, Chaos Thorn, Lightsworn Pile. I don't see anything like that being more than just a 1.5 right now. I do see the deck being competitive. I think there are some deck lists that can sneak into those top spots, but to me, it's just a little bit unlikely we're going to be having more than 1 or 2 in a top 8. More than 1 in a top 8, more than 2 to 3 in a top 32. I just don't see that. Next, we have Ritual Beasts. I think this is one of the best 1.5 decks you can play. Ritual Beast sets up several different cards that are going to be a headache to deal with. I could play through several hand traps, but it does struggle if you do open more than one hand trap and they don't open extenders. I don't really know a whole lot about this deck. I know it's very consistent. I know it's consistently getting tops, and I know it is a headache to play against. Next, we got Whitewoods. I think Whitewoods is the next choice between 1.5 and 2. I don't think it's quite the best decks. I don't think it's definitely not tier 2. Specifically, Whitewoods Runic. It's a headache to play against, obviously, with the Runic cards. And Whitewoods just does so well. Just does so well playing against everything in the meta right now. I mean, it's a synchro based deck, so Runic Stun have to side out like Synchro Zone and stuff like that. I definitely think it's a good choice. Fiendsmith Yubel, or just Yubel, I think is one of the top 3 decks right now. I hate playing against Yubel. I think Yubel is a very well-rounded deck. I don't think it lost a whole lot with the ban list, and I think for right now it is the best deck. And a lot of the World's envelopes were won by Yubel. I know our locals, the Yubel guy got ours. I wasn't there. Maybe Runic Stun would have done a little different, but I definitely think Yubel is probably the best deck right now. Paleo Pile, I think, is a little better than Lightsworn, just because it doesn't really care about Shifter. It sucks real bad, but like, it's in the same boat as the Lightsworns, so I think it's right there. Rescue Ace, I think, could be sneaky. I think Rescue Ace could end up being better than one of these, but until we see some lists, I am going to put Rescue Ace at next choice 1.5 to 2. Rescue Ace doesn't lose anything with the Fiendsmith. It power creeps everything else, so I can see a lot of people switching back to Rescue Ace, especially Wanted Witch Rescue Ace. So Runic Stun, I think it's right here right now. I'm not really sure if it's worse than the Ritual Beast or better than the Ritual Beast. I'm just putting it at the second best choice in the next choice area right now. You're going to see a lot of tops with Runic Stun. I do think Agent Persuasion Johnny Nguyen is one of the better Runic Stun players, if not the best. And watching his list, it's just so good. It's just so good. I've been playing around with a couple different variants, and then I found some of my own but Runic Stun is going to be a big headache if you're not prepared for it. We've got Kashtira. I think Kashtira is better than Whitewoods. I think it struggles against Runic Stun, so I'm going to put it right there between them. Kashtira can set up OTKs with Heat Soul. Kashtira can set up OTKs without Heat Soul. Kashtira can set up OTKs without any extra deck monsters. I think Kashtira is really good. They do have the Dragon Ruler Blaster Xyz. It's not that good for them. However, it could be better for one of our Dragon Ruler cards, which will come here in just a few minutes. Kashtira overall is pretty good. The only thing that they lost was Prosperity, which, I mean, no deck was cutting, but it's easily replaced. Like, you don't even have to play it on 1 and you'll be okay. There were some Kashtira builds that I played that I didn't play Prosperity at all, especially early when Prosperity was $60, $70 card. Next we got Sky Striker. It's still Rogue. I mean, it's also not its time, but I think it at least has a shot to be played. I think it's at least got a shot to be played. It's just it loses to Shifter very badly. Very, very badly. And if you make it go first, they just set 2 pass. To me, right now, it's a worse version of the Runic. I've played both, obviously. So on this list, I've played half of these decks that I've talked about so far. But I would say it's at Rogue, and I don't see it coming to a tier 2 deck unless something crazy happens. Next we have Snake Eye, and I'm going to call this pure Snake Eye, or Snake Eye Fiendsmith. I think this deck's up here. I still think it's one of the best decks. I don't think they lost a whole lot. It lost enough to hurt, and I mean, you can bounce it down to the next choice here, and I think that's where I'm actually going to leave it. I think pure Snake Eye with Fiendsmith is 1.5. I think that there are some other options that you can do if you want to stick with Snake Eye that are better, and a couple of my friends of mine have talked about that. I think that a couple of these options later on here could be something else worth mentioning and worth playing. So, Branded, I think, is still one of the best decks. Branded Fusion to 1 doesn't really hurt. You can still do absolutely everything you want as a Branded player. I think Branded really struggles against Runic Stun. I think Branded really struggled against how good pure Snake Eye was. I think Branded did not really struggle against Yubel. Both can play Super Poly, so Branded can clear your board relatively easily. And I think with Branded Fusion going to 1, you just play Super Poly for sure. I think it's now a staple and a mandatory card. But we'll just have to wait and see how the format shakes out. I think right now these are 2 of the 3 best decks. Next we got Sprite. I think Sprite is a clear 2. I think it could sneak up into here. But I honestly think Sprite is weaker than where it used to be. If we were talking back in October, or if we were talking, not October, shoot, I'm sorry, back in April, 6 months ago, or if we were talking pre-June YCS, I would be saying this is like this area. Like, I'd be putting Sprite like right beside Kashtira. But where we're at right now, what we have, yeah, we have the frog stuff. I just don't think it's enough. I think the deck actually played better when we played more board breakers and played Ibly and the Melfi stuff. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have the Fiendsmith stuff. I have seen some lists with Sprite without it, and I've been toying around with those. You play more Bestials and stuff like that. I don't think it's 1.5 even. Of the decks I play, I definitely think Runic is the best deck that I play. Next, we've got Water, and this deck is very sneaky. I think post Rage of the Abyss, Water is probably a tier 1 deck, 1.5. Right now, it's going to be closer to the 2, but it's not a clear 2. I actually think it's going to be better than Rescue Ace, even right now where it is. I think the deck is very good, very consistent. With Tidal coming to 2, the deck gets even better. 3 Dragoons. I mean, the deck is just very good, very good. I've been practicing it. Dragon Ruler, I'm going to put it's not its time. I don't even think it's Rogue. I don't think you'll see anything major happening with Dragon Rulers. I just don't see it being competitive with as fast as the format is. And I mean, honestly, with so many cards limited and banned in it, like if you're playing against Runic and they banish what you need, you're done? Question mark. But no, just being honest, I don't think it's its time. Next we got Pendulum. I think Pendulum is Rogue. I think it's better than Sky Striker, but I definitely think it's Rogue. I hate Pendulum. Next deck. We've got Fire King, and specifically this is going to be Fire King Snake Eye. I think this comes back to being in one of the top 3 decks. Fire King Snake Eye is very good. Fire King Snake Eye replaces some of the consistency that you lost with Poplar and Ash. Fire King Snake Eye replaces some of the other things that you lost while still getting to play the Wanted package. Fire King Snake Eye is pretty good. I think it's pretty close to right here. I think any of these decks can be interchanged. I do personally think Yubel is the best deck, but I think any of these decks can get can get interchanged. I do think with Rage of the Abyss that Pure Snake Eye comes back up to like here. I think it becomes again one of the more clear tier 1 decks and clear top deck. But that's quite a bit away. We're talking October, so. Next we got Salad. I think Salad is Rogue, and I do think Salad is better than both of these. I don't think Salad's clear too because nobody's really playing it, but the fact that you can play 15 to 18 hand traps while still playing Engine in a format where a lot of decks are very susceptible to hand traps, especially Nibiru and Droll, which you can play, that's pretty good. You can also play Crossout in it. You just have so many flex spots in Salad. I think Salad is going to be a very sneaky road deck, especially in South America. We're going to see a lot of Sprite and Salad, more like tier 1, tier 2 than what we're going to be seeing here in the U.S. with tier 2 and Rogue. Just my opinion. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to put Heroes in not its time, but give it 3 months. So when this new hero support comes out, Heroes become a much better deck. Much better deck. And we'll see where we're at then. But right now, that's where I'm going to leave it. Penguins, I have in the clear too. I don't think Penguins are even as good. When I say Penguins, I mean Floowandereeze. I don't think Penguins are even as good as Sprite, but you still have Harpy's Featherstorm. You still have some other cards that you could play that just shut your opponent down. So I do think Floowandereeze is going to be a deck that's around. But I'm just not sure how much. You know how that goes. Thunder, we have 2 Colossus. Obviously, it's the best deck. I'm just kidding. It's not really Thunder's time. So I've been playing around with this, and unless you're going like Thunder Lightsworn or Chaos Thunder Lightsworn, blah, 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 out the wazoo, it's not good. It doesn't flow well together. The only thing that's really got going for it right now is Shifter. I honestly would probably play Danger Dark World before I played Thunder again. I really miss the deck. I love the deck. It's just not. It's not playable. It's not very good. Tenpai and Voiceless. These are again 2 of the better decks. I think with Yubel taking a hit. I think Tenpai could be one of the 4 best decks. So I think our meta becomes way more balanced. I wanted to say that there were 3. I mean, you could really put Branded here, but I think all 4 of these can be tier 1 or 1.5. So best decks is just going to be, these are the decks you're going to see the most of in tops. And then we're going to put Voiceless on this side of Ritual Beast. I think it's good. So best decks, these are the 4 decks you're going to see the most in tops. These next 8 are going to be, you're going to see 25% of your tops come from these decks. And then everything below it, you're going to see less than 25% of your tops come from. Overall, this is how I see the meta shaking out. I think your top 10 decks stop right at Whitewoods. And then Water and Rescue Ace are your next best after the top 10. Next choice. The reason there's so many here is just because of how varied the format's going to be to start with. We'll just have to wait and see how everything shakes out. But nevertheless, I know it's the end of the video, but make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to smash that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a video. Thank you so much for all your love and support. We'll see you next time. Keep grinding, keep pushing. Have a great day.